We all count on AI to be smart, fast, and, accurate. But what if there's a hidden flaw? A predictable failure mode that happens even when the AI seems to be working perfectly. Well, it turns out new research shows this isn't just some random possibility. It's a predictable breakdown happening right under our noses.
You've probably had this feeling yourself, right? You ask an AI something, and it gives you this answer that is just so fluent, so confident, perfectly structured. But something just feels off. It's like it's subtly disconnected from the truth you started with. This is a huge problem. And today, we're going to break down exactly why it's happening. Okay, so let's walk through how this goes down. It all starts with a pretty common scenario. You give an AI a dense, super technical document to analyze. Seems like a standard task, right? Then, a second AI takes that initial analysis and whips up a quick, concise summary for a busy executive. So far, so good. I mean, each step feels logical, totally efficient. And then to finish the chain, a third AI uses that summary to draft a brand new company policy. So now you've got this clean, automated pipeline going from deep research all the way to actionable strategy. What could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, the breakdown happens silently, right inside that clean-looking pipeline. Welcome to the paradox of what we're calling the confidently wrong AI. And here's the crucial part. Every single output in that chain looked perfect on its own. But that final policy, it's now based on just a faint echo of the original science. It's basically a high-tech game of telephone, where the meaning just silently erodes with each pass, even as, and this is the crazy part, the language actually gets more polished. This isn't just some random glitch in the matrix. The research we're diving into today actually gives it a name and shows that it's a predictable law of how information behaves in these systems. It's called synaptic drift. So what exactly is it? Well, synaptic drift is this predictable decay of an AI's connection to the actual truth as it works on its own outputs over and over again. And the really scary part? As the AI gets further and further from the truth, it can actually sound more fluent and more confident. So this whole concept really hinges on two competing forces. On one side, you have your anchor to reality, what the paper calls semantic integrity. Basically, how true is the output to the original source? And on the other side, you've got the sparkle, the pragmatic coherence, which is just how fluent and persuasive it sounds. Now, you'd think those two would go together, but they don't. And this chart just illustrates the problem perfectly. As the AI does more cycles of work, summarizing its own summaries, for example, you can see its connection to the truth, that semantic integrity, just steadily dropping. But at the same time, look what happens to its fluency, its ability to sound polished. It actually goes up. The system is literally getting better at sounding right while being more and more wrong. This predictable decay leads us to a critical tipping point, a point of no return, which the researchers have dubbed the C3 danger zone. You see, across thousands and thousands of tests, researchers saw this really consistent pattern. The first cycle, which they call C1, it only produces a minor drift from the truth. The second cycle, C2, you start to see a noticeable drift, but it's in that third cycle, C3, that something really dramatic happens. C3 isn't just another step down. The paper describes it as a phase transition. Think of it like water turning to ice. It's a fundamental change in the state of the information. The system crosses this threshold, and from that point on, it becomes nearly impossible to get back to the original meaning. So what does the output actually look like after the C3 transition? Well, the results are pretty alarming. As you can see here, the AI's output is highly fluent, very persuasive, but it retains less than half of its original meaning. The paper has this brilliant name for it, vapor work. It's authoritative, well-written stuff that has become completely unmoored from reality. And this brings us right to the core insight of the whole study. The problem isn't the AI's intelligence. The problem is our process. We are deploying this incredible intelligence without the semantic infrastructure that's needed to keep it anchored to meaning. So if the problem is a lack of infrastructure, how do we build it? Well, thankfully, the research also proposes a really clear solution for anchoring that meaning. And here's the thing. The fix isn't about chasing a newer, more powerful model. It's about implementing a smarter process called semantic anchoring. The goal is to actively manage the AI's connection to the source of truth instead of just letting it run wild on its own. And the process is broken down into three really key steps. First, set the anchor. You have to establish one single, unchangeable source of truth. Second, measure the drift. You actually quantify how far the AI is straying at each step. And third, and this is the most critical part, intervene early. You have to re-anchor the system to that source before it hits that C3 tipping point.
And this data shows exactly why that early intervention is so absolutely critical. If you re-anchor the system before C3, you can get a complete correction. But if you wait until after, well, the damage is essentially done. The loss of meaning becomes irreversible. This is a preventative measure, you know? It's not a cleanup operation.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean? Well, it requires a fundamental shift in how we think about this stuff. From just trusting in AI's autonomy to practicing active stewardship.
The strategic risks of just letting this drift happen are enormous. I mean, think about it. Invisible errors are just compounding in your decisions. Your outputs look totally credible but are no longer traceable to any actual fact. And get this, the research found that even if each step in a 5-step AI process is 85% accurate, the final output retains only a third of the original meaning.
This means we have to move beyond just simple checklists and compliance. It's time for us to become active stewards of meaning, constantly making sure that our incredibly powerful AI tools remain tethered to reality.
You know, this quote from the paper just sums it up perfectly. We can't have safe and reliable AI autonomy without human stewardship. The two have to go hand in hand. It's not about limiting AI, it's about enabling it to work reliably. And so we're left with this thought. AI is only going to get more fluent, more persuasive. The real challenge here isn't a technical one. It's a fundamental choice that we all have to make. How will we design our systems to anchor all of this intelligence to the truth?